We find out how Sasha Banks signed for New Japan, and Vince McMahon wants to return to WWE. But first, let's get to the quickfire headlines as a former AEW wrestler has made their WWE debut. Before last night's episode of Raw went live, a taped edition of Main Event would be filmed, which featured an appearance from Kylie Rae, now going by the name of Brianna Ray. Ray was part of All Elite Wrestling's first pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, with her seemingly positioned to play a big part in the women's division. However, she would later leave the company due to personal issues before returning to wrestling later that year. The WWE debut follows a recent tryout at the Performance Center, clearly impressing during her time there. WWE superstar Matt Riddle was written off of television last week on Raw following a brutal attack at the hands of the Bloodline's Solo Sikoa. WWE would note that he is injured and out for 6 weeks. Well, now we know the true reason for his absence, as according to Bodyslam.net, Riddle has in fact been suspended by the company after failing a drug test, which is said to be his second offense. The initial failed test is said to have happened leading into the SummerSlam pay-per-view, which explains why his match with Seth Rollins was delayed until Clash at the Castle, WWE's UK pay-per-view. As we discussed in a recent upcoming Free Agents video, which you should go and watch if you haven't already, the contract of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Kota Ibushi is set to expire at the beginning of 2023. According to Voices of Wrestling, there is interest from Pro Wrestling Noah's parent company Cyberfight to sign the Golden Star, and a big money offer is on the table, an offer that far exceeds his current pay in New Japan. It was also noted that the plan would be for Ibushi to also feature on larger DDT shows, who are also under the Cyberfight umbrella. There is also said to be interest from AEW, who feel a deal with Ibushi wouldn't sour their relationship with New Japan. This week, AEW President Tony Khan and AEW World Champion MJF would appear in an interview with Today.com, where the Salt of the Earth's expiring contract was discussed. With his deal set to expire in January 2024, again mentioned in our upcoming Free Agents video, Tony Khan would reveal how important MJF re-signing to the company is, with him saying, "It's certainly something MJF knows is a priority for AEW and me personally." Max would then remain as humble as ever, and he would say, "If with the trajectory that I'm on right now as the World Heavyweight Champion, if I continue to create incredible moments for wrestling fans up until 2024, I feel that even if I left them at the tender age of 27, I will have left an everlasting legacy in the history of this business, and you're welcome." This week, Ricky Starks would speak with DAZN ahead of his upcoming match for the AEW World Championship against MJF, where he discussed a potential match with the absent CM Punk. Starks would note how important Punk's help and experience was to the locker room, also name-dropping some veterans who he appreciates. When asked if he wants to work with Punk in the ring, Starks would say, "I would hope so, I really do. I thought CM Punk, William Regal, these people that came in were great additions to the locker room. Great additions in terms of what they provided. I know personally I was able to talk to Punk a lot and get help on my promos and things like that. Same with Regal because I've known him for so long. It was kind of a blow that both of these guys left. I am hopeful that down the line I do get that matchup. If not, I get it, that's how the business is, but it would be nice. It would be nice to be able to work with somebody of that caliber because I have yet to work with, besides Sting, I've yet to work with somebody of such a high caliber, and the Sting match was a year or two ago." And next up, we find out how Sasha Banks signed for New Japan. It was recently reported by the Wrestling Observer that Sasha Banks, now using her real name of Mercedes Varnado, is set to appear on the upcoming Wrestle Kingdom event on January 4th, with her set to work multiple matches for the company over the course of 2023. In an update from the flagship wrestling podcast Patreon page ran by Voices of Wrestling, we have more information on how the deal came together over the course of recent months. According to the report, initial negotiations began a number of months ago, not long after Mercedes walked out on WWE. Stardom, who are also owned by Bushiroad, the parent company of New Japan, would almost immediately reach out over the possibility of working together. The interest is said to have been mutual, with Varnado noting that she actively followed the all-female promotion and even suggested talent that she wanted to work with. The initial negotiations are said to have collapsed shortly after, however, with Stardom executive producer Rossi Ogawa being unwilling to match her asking price. With that said, Ogawa would eventually be given the green light from from Bushiroad to further pursue talks in what is being described as a limited appearance deal. The report also notes that the deal to sign Mercedes is, quote, significantly higher than what New Japan paid Chris Jericho and would make Banks by far the highest paid Bushiroad's contracted wrestler. With that said, Voices of Wrestling were unable to confirm if the deal has been officially signed. Mercedes is expected to be dropped into a program for the IWGP Women's Championship, with one of the key goals being to establish Stardom as the number 2 promotion in all of Japan, as well as to increase their visibility worldwide. It was noted that the IWGP Women's title was created this year to help increase awareness in Stardom, and the hope is that Varnado working a program for the belt will draw interest from Western fans who will then continue to follow Stardom after her deal is over. And before we get to the rest of the video, we're hoping to get to 40,000 subscribers before Christmas, so if you regularly watch the videos and you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to Wrestle Planet and turn notifications on so you stay up to date with the latest news from the pro wrestling world. And finally, Vince McMahon wants to return to WWE. In July 2022, Vince McMahon would retire from his roles in WWE after a series of revelations broke via the Wall Street Journal, with claims of misconduct from ex-employees, as well as hush money payments to keep them under wraps. In a fresh update from the WSJ today, McMahon is now facing legal demands from 2 women who allege that he assaulted them, according to internal documents and people familiar with the legal negotiations, and the report notes, in a November 3rd demand letter to Mr. McMahon's representative, a lawyer from former wrestling referee Rita Chatterton asked for $11.75 million in damages after she publicly accused Mr. McMahon 3 decades ago of raping her in a limousine. Mr. McMahon has long denied the allegations. The demand letter was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. In a separate November email to Mr. McMahon's attorney, a lawyer from a former spa manager said that Mr. McMahon assaulted his client in 2011 at a California resort, an incident previously unreported in the media. The private communications between lawyers for the women and Mr. McMahon's longtime attorney Jerry McDivitt come as WWE tries to move past Mr. McMahon's 40-year tenure as the company's leader and into a new era. Vince is said to have told people that he refuses to pay settlements to Ms. Chatterton and the former spa manager, people familiar with his comments have said. Shockingly, the report adds that McMahon hopes to return to his roles in WWE, with him feeling that he received bad advice from people close to him, and the story reads, the 77-year-old Mr. McMahon also told people that he intends to make a comeback at WWE, according to the people familiar with his comments. He has said that he received bad advice from people close to him to step down, and that he now believes the allegations and investigations would have blown over had he stayed, these people said. As of now, Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon remain in the roles of co-CEO, with Triple H leading the charge of the creative team as Chief Content Officer, with all 3 taking over work previously allocated to Vince. Whether he actually returns to the company remains to be seen. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful has taken to Twitter to reveal that whilst Vince may want to return to WWE, the feeling isn't necessarily mutual amongst company higher-ups, with him noting, numerous WWE higher-ups that I've spoken to in recent months have indicated to us that they want nothing to do with that and are happy with the direction. I haven't heard one person there itching for a Vince return. I should state they wanted nothing to do with a Vince comeback. We'd not discussed him telling people that he planned to make one. Done was the phrase I got often. As for McMahon in the short term, a documentary is set to air tonight on Vice named The 9 Lives of Vince McMahon, with the network claiming that it will tell the real story behind wrestling's most provocative figure that you won't hear anywhere else. But do you think Vince will return to WWE? Let me know in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 upcoming wrestling free agents that you need to know.